Hey there, welcome back to another episode of Design Lab with me, Adam, in which we look at comics and art and design and stuff. Last episode, we looked at the new Charles Burns book, Final Cut, and I talked about this book, Comics, which I had not yet seen, but I was looking for, and now I have it, and now we're going to look at it. I have not read it yet because I just briefly took a look inside, and from what I can tell, it is not a story. It is more of an art book in which there's not much dialogue, if any dialogue. It looks like they're mainly comic covers and art covers and things that have only existed in his mind and are not real book covers. But we're going to take a look and see. And this came out, I think, in July 2024. So it's pretty new. Yeah, from what I see, like he's like doing covers of books, and these books back here also look like his books. It's like a world in which everything is written by him, even these characters in the books. And the font doesn't seem to be any kind of actual words or any real language. But if somebody can read this, you're probably operating on a higher level than me. But this looks kind of like Tintin, you know? It's like alternate universe Tintin, and again, alternate universe font. But what is going on with where is the inside? It's like inside a whale or something. Who knows? Tintin stuck on a rock. Yeah, so I don't know what the if these are characters from his other books. I haven't read all of his books, so I'm not sure. This looks almost like the top half looks like the colors from what I remember, like the early first issue of Action Comics or something, but I could be totally wrong. And there's some his images are so dreamlike. There's just like something. I don't know if he uses his dreams as springboards for his ideas, but the worlds he created just seem like something out of a dream to me. And maybe that includes these fonts. They look like something out of the corner of your eye that you would see, and you would think, oh, that's like number 22 or something. But then you actually look at it, and that's not what it says at all. And it's like, what does any of this mean? Yeah, similar sense of his sense of design. He's just a design rock star, I think. And but it's like, where are these things? What is this place? Every time I look at the font, I feel like my brain expects it to be even this. This looks like some alternative Japanese or Chinese font, but I don't think it's either. And this looks like some 1950s romance comic story, except for her tits were just like enormously pushing through her shirt. Teen Diary, in which they're in like some ruins and she's half naked from the waist down. Throbbing Heart. So we are starting to get real language, but then the Comics Code Authority thing is not part of the real language, which is interesting. Teens in Trouble, 12 cents. Throbbing Heart. Diary Secrets. Some of these images, like this, I feel like this is almost a scene from his last book, Final Cut. Like maybe he was testing ideas out or something. This looks like when I see like some like Middle Eastern album covers from the 70s or something, where you feel like you want it to make sense, but or like Bollywood advertising posters. These characters just always look so funny to me, though. And this looks like I'm thinking of Tintin in Tibet. So there's so much stuff with fonts. He's clearly he loves fonts as well as art. I think fonts are can be pretty beautiful and interesting, and they convey so much information about how you're supposed to feel about something. This looks like some Soviet version of this book, Sad Girl. He has a great sense of humor, that's for sure. Like he's aware of. I think it seems like a lot of like artists, alternative artists, have a really great sense of irony and just morbid sense of humor that you don't get in more straight edge comics. Yeah, these creatures, I don't know if these are identical to the ones that we see in Final Cut, but they look very similar. Huss. What is Huss? Sounds like hustler, but it's not. This hand is just so almost like ape-like. The claw. Did the claw? Oh yeah, the claw was in Final Cut. That was one of their kids movies that they made as kids. So he's clearly riffing on a lot of his other ideas that show up. Sad girls with no future. Girls naked, needy, and numb. Us. I mean, it's just like the precision with his inking is just so cool. You rarely see that in this level. Like I always cite like Robert Crumb at his cleaner moments. He can be pretty sloppy in like his earlier stuff, but some of his Robert Crumb stuff is very precise when he really wants to ink. And I mentioned Basil Wolverton, Ernie Bushmiller a lot because those guys are just inking masters. Yeah, this is a great book. This would be like, I feel like if you buy this book, you can take it apart and frame a lot of these and put them in your bathroom, put them in your hall to amaze your guests. What's this one? It's like some space adventure story. This looks slightly different. Like this this style here. I'm trying to remember what it looks like. Maybe like a touch of Archie or something. I'm not sure. But there's just something very, I mean, he obviously loves design from the 1950s and culture from the 1950s, but other eras too. I mean, this is more almost 60s maybe. I don't know. This looks like some like Bob Hope movie comic adaptation of a movie or something, or some Elvis. Drug buddy. This looks more like a 70s album cover. This reminds me, actually, I just found this Archie comic. I think it's called Archie's Sunshine, S-O-N, and it's like a Christian Archie comic that I'll probably look at in the future. So be sure to subscribe if you want to see more weird comics. Teenage romances. I think these are essentially basically things you never see because, you know, obviously in the 50s and 60s, nobody gave anyone the middle finger. And also, every teenage romance comic would have at least one man and one woman. This is just three men. So it's like, what does it mean? Are they gay? What's going on? This font looks more like almost, I'm not sure, like thinking of like some kind of Indian fonts. I want to look at some Indian comics because some of those look pretty unusual compared to like American comics or European comics. But I unfortunately do not speak. I've studied a little Hindi, but not enough to really understand it at this point. This looks so Charles Burns. This, like, the sense of horror and the sense of beautiful design. This is an interesting contrast because I think this is maybe like two of his styles. One of his styles is the woman, which is very, very much more cleaner pronounced. But with his nature imagery, like forests or rocks, he does tend to use a slightly looser style with more of a, I don't know how you would describe it, but it's just more, it looks almost like it could have been done with like pencils rather than ink. This is interesting, this style. For him, I don't know what medium he's using. It looks almost like, I don't know, charcoal or something? Not charcoal, pastels maybe? I mean, he could just work digitally. I don't really know his working method. Again, this looks very Tintin. I don't know which Tintin cover, I forget, but I've seen a lot of Tintin. I would like to go through all of Tintin at some point. I've read some of them in English, but not all of them, and not recently. So I think a lot of designers look at Tintin as a kind of a high watermark for consistency in design, because he just had a very clean style. All right. So I think that's it. This guy seems to be one of the main. I can't remember if it's been just so long since I've read his other books and the books that I haven't gotten to. So I can't remember if this guy shows up in some of his books. I feel like maybe so. Maybe like The Hive or I forget which ones. But yeah. So anyways, I'm just going to call it a wrap. If you, I think you get a pretty good idea what this is. Basically, it's like a poster book. It'd be good to tear apart and put on your walls, and or a nice coffee table art book, but no story. If you want story, go check out my review of Final Cut, which I thought was pretty good, and also from 2024. So yeah, Charles Burns, a pretty masterful designer and inker.